A lot of people ask me about the power of the mastermind, and having been in mastermind starting at 19 years old, and at 19 and 20, as a matter of fact, with about 15 of the most successful real estate agents on the planet. And here I am, this young sales guy, learning the business and being able to spend this time with these extraordinary individuals. What it did is it gave me a greater arc of perspective. It gave me a level of maturity and understanding that when I was talking to somebody that was newer in the business, or 5 or 8 or 10 years in the business, the perspective that I had walking out of a room with agents that were selling hundreds of homes a year in 1989 and 1990, I was able to say to them, look, I synthesized the 10 things that these men and women all do. It's ABC 1, 2, 3. Without something like a mastermind, you never get the exposure to what other people are doing at a deep level over time. You get to go deep and wide versus, meeting with people now and then and just kind of picking a little bit at like, what's this person doing, how they doing it. So I'm a huge fan. The origin of it really for me was reading Think and Grow Rich, and I think anyone watching this has probably read Think and Grow Rich and probably watches it, reads the book at least once a year, because that would certainly be the recommendation. But if you look at the study of that book, Napoleon Hill was an early synthesizer. He was a codifier. He basically went out and studied the 500 most successful titans and entrepreneurs of his time. And in chapter 10, he says one of the things that they all had in common is they were all part of a mastermind group. So imagine, Henry Ford or, J.P. Morgan literally reaching out to friends and saying, I need some ideas. I want to bounce something off you. I want to get your feedback. It wasn't just that. They met on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis and worked on the big issues of their business, of their life, of what was happening in the economy, of what was happening in the world. And why was that so successful? We all know that your identity, the way you think about yourself and what you believe about yourself, right? Your perspective, right, can be limiting. So if I can meet with 3, 4, 5 other women and men and get their perspective on my problem, their input on my problem, their experience on my problem, even if they're not inside my industry, life and business problems are life and business problems. If I can get their perspective, I can glean from them, I can learn from them, I can execute faster, save time, save money, and at the end of the day, not have to reinvent the wheel. So for me, an entrepreneur today who doesn't have a mastermind group, a sales professional who doesn't have a mastermind group, a videographer who isn't in a mastermind group, what they're saying to themselves is one of two things. Either I am the way and I have all the information I need, or I'm just too busy and how do I get into one? So I want to address the first one is just a fixed mindset. We've talked about that enough. Dr. Carol Dweck wrote that groundbreaking book, Growth Mindset. A lot of people thought it was supposed to be motivational. It's not motivational. It's actually very more clinical. And a lot of people read the first half of the book and thought they got it. All the juice is in the second half of the book, right? Where she says this is how you transform yourself from that context of a fixed mindset in your business, in your relationship, in your idea exchange, your fear and anxiety around people not liking your ideas or not respecting your opinion or casting doubt on you, and how to get over that, right? So the key to a mastermind group, if you're in that fixed mindset, you're probably not going to be a part of one. So you need to read that book. You need to work on yourself. That's on you. The second one is that you just say, look, how do I start one? How do I get into one? And look, my advice is you're going to conferences. You got people inside your office. You got other people inside your community that are business professionals. Find the ones that have a growth mindset. Find the ones that have an upward trajectory in their business. You just ask, like, hey, what are you working on? How's your business? If they're like, man, we got this turnover problem, we've always had it just is what it is, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, if that's their mindset, they're a fixed mindset. I don't want that person in my mastermind group. I want the person that's a problem solver, who is trying to figure out in their life and their business how to make it exceptional. Even if it's one person or 2 people, that's okay. I started small in the vast majority of the groups that I started. 2, 3 other CEOs, some of them, by the way, in my space, competing for the same dollars that I'm going after. But because I've got such a growth mindset, because I have such an abundant mindset, I would rather see his business or her business or my business, all of us do better in our space than not know what they understand and what they know. So, it's the opportunity to ride on the shoulders of giants in your industry. And you might be saying, Tom, I'm not a giant in my industry. Well, then guess what? You can be like I was in my first mastermind group. I brought coffee. I did whatever it took. I was the grunt. I was the little, you know, the little kitten of the litter, trying to bring them value. And today, even today, some of those are still my greatest relationships in the space, right? So you can start one, you can get into one, go to a conference, find 2 or 3 people. If you're in our ecosystem, it's easy. Go onto the private Facebook pages and say, hey, look, I'm at 25 transactions and I want to go to 50. I'd like to start a mastermind group with people that are at a similar place that have that growth mindset. Once you get that core little group together, you very quickly realize they have so much more information than you do, and you can bring value to them, they're gonna bring value to you. Like, that's the gift of it, right? Like, not having to reinvent the wheel. And you can even go super tactical. And what software do you use? What CRM do you use? Here's your website provider. Can you hook me up with that person? How did you solve, you know, this problem of lead generation or lead conversion? And then once all that stuff is out of the way, then you can start to work on the bigger issues. How's your marriage? How's your money? How's your health and vitality? And that's, you know, like my mastermind group today, we blend the two. We're constantly jumping back and forth between marriage and life and kids and you know, that side of our life, who we are as men and women in our communities, how we're gonna make a difference. And okay, by the way, how do we have 48% growth in our business year over year? Like, it's all of the above. That's the beauty of a mastermind. So I just say you start, right? You stop playing small. You come to one of my conferences or whatever conferences you go to, and you find 2 or 3 people that have that similar connection, and then what do? Hey, let's meet once a month face-to-face, once a quarter face-to-face, where we really break down, you know, things that are happening in our business, things that are happening in our life, and you get input and you hold each other accountable to the things that we were talking about 30, 60, 90 days ago. And then in a perfect world, you should be talking once a month. And like today with Zoom and Twilio and these other video-based applications, your mastermind group could be anywhere in the world and we can all be face-to-face on video. My group, we meet once a month for 45 minutes to an hour in between our meetings just to stay connected. Hey man, what are you up to? Hey girl, what's happening? What are you doing? Like, and we chit chat, we talk about what's happening in the industry, we talk about things that we need to know, we keep each other abreast of what's happening, right? That's gonna help us grow and move forward. And again, if somebody's in need, we pour ourselves into that person, try and give them the most value possible, and then everybody's nurturing and following up and texting, because these men and women in your mastermind group, they become some of the most important professional relationships, and I would even argue just relationships in your life. So here's the deal. You can either go it alone, you can take that path, or you can, you know, find 3, 4, 5 people, start a group that are committed to do something exceptional and ride on the shoulders of giants. I think you know where I stand.